So here's a clip from The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and Bob Hope will be present, and they will go into hysterical laughter.
Just before, I think they thought you were making a joke, the fighter pilots. You were a pilot, right?
Oh, yeah. I fought the whole war in Oklahoma.
Okay, that's Bob Uecker. He's the guest. Now, I don't know what he's drinking. It looks like you're drinking beer, but keep your eye on the cup.
And if you think back, and I'm not mad at anybody or anything, but just remember, there was not one Japanese aircraft got past Tulsa.
Carson's Tonight Show soon became America's favorite party.
Did you see it? Dean Martin, Bob Hope, and Johnny Carson are laughing hysterically at Bob Uecker. Now, most people think it's because Dean Martin is tipping his cigarette in his ginger ale or his beer, but that's not why they're laughing. Bob Uecker said he was in the Second World War and there wasn't one Japanese plane because he was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And they find it so hysterical. Now, why do they find it so hysterical? Is it simply because Dean Martin's tipping his cigarette in the cup of Bob Uecker? No. It's because there were no Japanese planes attacking Pearl Harbor or Midway or anywhere. It was all media atrocity. In other words, it just didn't really happen the way you think it happened. There were movies and nonsense. So we go to Merv Griffin, and Merv Griffin is going to interview the captain, the Japanese captain, who led the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now, this thing is really funny because he brings an interpreter, and supposedly he can't speak English.
And your interest, and a chance for this gentleman to be heard. Over 20 years ago, it would have been impossible to have this man sit before an American audience. He was the commander of the task force that bombed Pearl Harbor. For 3 months, he trained the men, planned the strategy, picked the day, ordered the bombs. He ordered the bombs that were dropped that crippled our Navy and brought the United States into World War II. One of the struck ships, the USS Arizona, still rests at the bottom of the harbor, now a memorial as well as a steel graveyard for its crew. After the attack, he drank champagne in a victory party for his accomplishment. His story from that day on, I think you'll find a most interesting one. This is Captain Mitsuo Fuchida. He does not speak English, and this young gentleman to his right is an interpreter. They have not met, I understand, until tonight. His name is it Mr. Tashiaki Taga? Did I pronounce that all right? That's right. Thank you. Mr. Fuchida, after Pearl Harbor, did you think you would win the war?
I thought 50-50.
50-50? Right. Were you rewarded for your mission? Mr. Taga? You speak Russian, sir? Yeah.
Right after the Pearl Harbor, when I came back to Japan, Emperor called me to the palace and he decorated me the best medal.
The Emperor? That was at the Hirohito?
Yes.
Yes, and he decorated you at the palace. Right. Now, was the plan to invade Hawaii or eventually occupy the United States?
There was no plans to invade Hawaii or...
Okay, so you can watch more of it. Remember, he didn't speak English, and they brought the interpreter. The interpreters are actually funny because he says little to nothing. Little to nothing. Do you know what happened at Pearl Harbor? Little to nothing. Do you know what happened in the Battle of Midway? Little to nothing. I've done a video on Midway. It's just a John Ford movie. That's all it is. There probably never was a Japanese fleet out in the Pacific. They didn't need to island hop. There were no Japanese planes. It was all nonsense. Media atrocity. It was done up in magazines, films, and then later, of course, the American public got all kinds of propaganda in books and movies and magazines and stupid talk shows like the Merv Griffin Show in 1965, interviewing the captain who can't speak English but instantly responds to Merv Griffin's questions. Well, let's take another look at Johnny Carson and why they laugh so hysterically. It's not Dean Martin dumping his cigarette butts in Bob Uecker's cup. Bob Uecker was in the war, and he never saw a Japanese plane.
In a joke to fighter pilots. You were a pilot, right?
Oh, yes. I fought the whole war in Oklahoma. And if you think back, and I'm not mad at anybody or anything, but just remember, there was not one Japanese aircraft got past Tulsa.
See, no, look, it is so hilariously funny because that is the line of the entire Second World War. There were no Japanese planes to fight up in the air like the Battle of Midway. There were no Japanese bombers that bombed Pearl Harbor. It was all nonsense. It was all acting. It was all drama. But it was convincing drama. Hey, most people can't laugh, but those people can laugh. And they laugh heartily because they know he just gave away the line for the entire Pacific theater of war. Pacific theater. Remember, war is called theater. Okay. And of course there's Bob Hope, who went out and entertained the troops. And notice between Bob Hope and Dean Martin is his golf club. That's not a golf club. That's a magic wand. Because they're all Satanists. And they get their power from Satan. Remember what the scriptures say, that Satan has power to deceive the whole world. And in addition, in Matthew 24:24, to deceive the elect. It's one of my channels, is The Elect Deceived, Matthew 24:24. One of my 9 channels. Hey, it's great to give you this video, and there you have it. Now you know why Dean Martin, Bob Hope, and Johnny Carson were really laughing. It wasn't about a cigarette butt in, looks like, his beer cup. It was about, he just spilled the secret of the entire Pacific theater of war. Thank you for watching. End of video.